What's up, world? Today we'll be decoding the mystery of ETFs, and stick around to the end to see if I completely failed at staying on budget so you can troll me in the comments.
Yo!
Welcome back to Riding the Bull, a series where my girlfriend and I are trying to save $75,000 over the next 12 months. Anna is looking to save $23,000, which means I need to put away $1,000 each week for 52 weeks. We'll look into our savings from this month in just a second, but first, let's talk about ETFs so you can decide if they're the right investment for your portfolio. First off, if you missed my Stocks 101 video from last week, you should check that out now so you know the fundamentals of what we're about to talk about. Alright, so ETFs are basically an investment vehicle that allow you to invest in many companies while purchasing only a single share. Some ETFs also allow you to invest in commodities like gold or oil, as well as currencies. However, most ETFs track a specific index, which is a segment of the financial market. When investing in an ETF like SPY, you're investing in an index called the S&P 500, which represents the 500 largest companies in the United States. Essentially, this ETF is giving you little pieces of ownership in all of your favorite companies. Which is why I said in previous videos that purchasing ETFs gives me a level of diversification that I just can't achieve when purchasing individual stocks. ETFs allow you to own pieces of many different companies, so extreme variations in the stock price of one or two of these companies will have a much smaller impact on your investment as a whole. For example, VOO is an S&P 500 ETF offered by Vanguard, and it has an expense ratio of just 0.04%, so $4 for every $10,000 you invest. That's a really good deal. If the S&P 500 seems a bit too broad for you, there's also sector ETFs which allow you to invest in certain industry sectors, like the tech sector or the finance sector. Overall, ETFs are great because they give you options, they perform well, they have great diversification, and they have tiny little management fees. Now that we have today's lesson out of the way, let's get to our budget review! Yikes. So overall, this was a great month for mine and Anna's budget. We filled up our savings and investments and now have about $5,800. For our spending, we spent a total of $3,232 and came $11 under budget. What's also cool about January is that we had a lot of irregular income coming in this month, which we can now use to put towards our trips for this year. Additional income came from GST checks. As we graduated last year, we're still considered students in the eyes of the government. We rented half of our driveway to a neighbor for use during snowstorms. I sold my PS4, and a neighbor gave us $50 for helping her shovel this month. This means we now have an additional $740 to be used in our travels. I'll be tracking my portion of this additional income in the savings goals section of my budget calculator, which you can download for free from my Patreon, which is linked in the description below. However, I do have a pending purchase for a flight to Nashville for $256, which is why you'll notice that my personal discretionary budget was over by $94. This means I'll be taking this $94 out of my savings goals. This sucks because it brings me further away from my savings goal, but I'll be staying with a friend in Nashville, so this is really the only large expense for this trip. So I can continue to save throughout February, March, and April. Okay, super quick before we go. This week, I'll be buying SPY with a dividend yield of 1.75%, which has grown consecutively for the last 10 years. GWO with a dividend yield of 4.8%, which has grown consecutively for 5 years. And ENB with a dividend yield of 6%, which has grown for the last 19 years. Now let's go ahead and deposit another $1,000 to be used in next week's episode. And while we wait for that transfer to complete, go ahead and let me know if you were able to stay on budget this month, and what you think about investing in ETFs. Next week, I'll be showing you the tricks that Anna uses to help us save almost $1,000 each year when shopping for our groceries. But for this week, just get out there, be smart with your spending, and of course, let's start making some money.
Yo!